Mary is our mother. When she first encountered Jesus, the angel Gabriel had told her that she was full of grace, that she had found favor with God. And her response was, "I am the handmaid of the Lord. Let it be done unto me according to his will." She submitted herself fully to God's will. And her yes meant something beautiful for us.
Prayer is one way that we get grace, and asking for an increase in those virtues, the ones that she lived so perfectly, so beautifully through her intercession. Can't find a better way to ask for grace to be poured into our life than through prayer and through the intercession of the woman who lived, cooperated with grace so perfectly.
Charity, my friends, is a holy fire in the heart of a man. Charity is the most necessary of all the virtues. Without it, nothing matters. With it, everything becomes worthwhile in the eyes of Almighty God. And the Blessed Virgin Mary possesses this great virtue of charity in the highest and to the most exalted degree.
Welcome to the Sowing Hope podcast. This is a show all about implanting hope in our hearts. I'm Bill Snyder, joined by my friend Ann DeSantis. We're glad you're here for our uplifting conversation about faith and how it sustains our hearts through all the seasons of life. Thanks for walking with us.
And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sowing Hope podcast. I am Bill Snyder, and as always, as you can see, I'm joined by my good friend, Ann DeSantis. Ann, how are you?
Oh, I'm great. Glad to be back here again on Sowing Hope because I'm excited about the topic.
Yeah, me too.
I'm excited to be here with you too, Bill, for our 200 and something episode, isn't it?
I think this might be 220. It's crazy to say it's been 220
That's right.
episodes. But here we are. It's been over 3 years, right?
Over 3 years.
Over 3 years. It's just amazing that this podcast, our ministries continue to grow. And that's thanks to everybody listening. And that's thanks to everybody tuning in and registering for this summit that we're going to talk about today. Because there are so many great things that are going to be taking place just about 2 weeks from now.
That's right. That's right. And some of you might already know about it, but it's a combined effort of Patchwork Heart Ministry, Fiat Ministry Network, and the St. Raymond Onatus Foundation. It's Marian Summit Hope for Families. It's a 3-day online virtual summit from 6 to 8 or around 8 p.m. or so each evening. And you're going to hear from over 20 Catholic authors and speakers. I mean, I'll just name a few. I don't have the list right in front of me, so I don't want to miss anybody. But I can tell you that people like William Hemsworth, Allison Gingras, Caroline Godin, Father Daniel Bowen, Father, oh my
Ken
gosh,
Breen.
I'm drawing a blank.
Ken Breen.
Father Ken Breen, of course. How can I forget? And there's just so many others. Liz Montigny.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a wonderful event where you're going to hear stories, or you're going to hear a catechesis. You're going to hear personal sharings on the Blessed Mother. But most of all, it's geared for the people that, you watched the little commercial that we had before this podcast started, and it is for families in crisis. It is for people who have gone through adversities or trauma. And that's pretty much all of us. I think all of us have gone through stuff, haven't we?
Oh, yeah.
And so the Blessed Mother really is the person who is there interceding for us, caring, and always pointing to her Son. So, Bill, thank you so much for you being so instrumental, because Bill's the one who's kind of pulling it all together in terms of the virtual presentations and the way that it's going to look, and just being able to, even that beautiful ad that you just saw, that was all Bill. So we thank him for all you do. Bill, you've had a chance to kind of see some of those talks and listen to them. Maybe you can kind of tell the audience what you're
Yeah.
learning from it so far.
Yeah, sure. I always get that. I always say I get to do these summits, and when I edit, it's like doing these things 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12 times, because you have to watch the videos over and over again, and it's you're really in for a treat, folks. I mean, the people that you see in the trailer are so inspiring. Allison Gingras and Caroline Godin, Father Daniel Bowen that you see in the, it's just so inspiring. You're going to see and you're going to hear wonderful stories. Everything from catechesis, like Father Daniel brings to the table, to personal stories and personal witnesses from people like Penny Warner and Caroline Godin. And I mean, you're just going to see and hear beautiful testimonies to what the Blessed Mother has done in people's lives and does for the church, right? Like, the Blessed Mother is the mother of the church. She has that title, Mary, Mother of the Church. And so it's absolutely beautiful that we're going to delve into what Mary means to us from a speaker perspective, but what it can mean for you, and begin to give some catechesis. William Hemsworth, by the way, his talk is so rich and so deep on the catechetics of a certain aspect of the Blessed Virgin Mary that I can't even go into on the podcast right here, because it's so deep and so beautiful. But so there's that. Then we have other speakers that talk from their heart about what the Blessed Mother has done in their life, through praying the Rosary, or through dedicating oneself to the Blessed Mother through different third orders and different things that you can do like Legion of Mary and things like that you can honor the Blessed Mother in that way and participate in those societies. So I mean, there's so many different ways that you can encounter the Blessed Virgin Mary, and you're going to hear these uplifting stories, these uplifting things. You're really in for a treat. I encourage you all to go over and register for this on nonatus.org, right? And that's the spot that you can go over to register, nonatus.org, and there's a whole page there. It's got information and the trailers and everything. So, we're so excited, and I'm excited to partner with both Fiat and you, and again, because this is the Eucharistic Summit was so amazing that we got to do another one, and this is it. So it's going to be wonderful.
That's right. Yes. And for those who are watching this podcast, and if you haven't watched that Eucharistic Summit, it's still very much around. All you need to do is go to the Patchwork Heart Ministry YouTube channel, and it's also at patchworkheartradio.org. It's even on the nonatus.org site that we still have a page there for the Eucharistic Summit under our programs, but it goes right to that YouTube channel, and you can watch all those talks. And it's really going to be the same idea. It's going to be 15-minute presentations from these different speakers. And the beauty of it all too is that if you can't watch it, say when it premieres, like May 16th, 17th, and 18th at 6, just say something is going on in your life. It doesn't matter, because as long as you register, you will get all of those notifications to watch it, not only when it premieres, but after the fact. So you definitely want to register. You definitely want to go to that Patchwork Heart Ministry YouTube channel and subscribe over there too, because that'll also help to connect you. And so it's just going to be a real blessing. I'm totally excited about it. And Bill, I saw this article. I thought we can kind of also just give our audience a little bit of maybe some ideas of how to honor Mary during this podcast, because we're going to do it too, even on the podcast, as we want to educate too, right?
Oh, sure.
But we ask you to do that. So this one article that I pulled up that is called 6 Ways to Honor Mary from holyfamilysparta.org. It's from a parish. And it basically says that some of the ways to honor Mary is to have images of Mary around your home. It says that you can take an altar cloth and cover the table or shelf with blue fabric or tablecloth or a placemat. You can have candles around of any size or number. You can have floral bouquets or vases around. That's a wonderful way to honor Mary. So let's just talk about, these are just simple, simple ways. And I think that having those images of Mary and the statues too, I mean, you don't have to have statues all over the place, but it's nice to have one or two around. We have one in our backyard, the bigger one that's kind of under, like sort of that gazebo like
Yeah.
structure.
Yeah.
And then we have one or two of them on different floors of the house. And I think it just makes a difference to remember Mary. And it reminds me to say a prayer. Whenever I see it, I'm like, I got to pray. Even if it's just a simple Hail Mary, that simple Hail Mary means so much, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And, I mean, personally, I love having the statues around, my house, my bedroom. I mean, I have the little Our Lady on Tyre of Knots statue. If you don't know Our Lady on Tyre of Knots, look up that title of Mary. Mary has so many different titles, right? I mean, that's one of the amazing things about Mary is, we keep coming up with new titles for her because she is just incredibly amazing. And so I keep that one around my home, and different little candles of the Blessed Virgin Mary, Our Lady Guadalupe. We have a few candles of Our Lady Guadalupe. One of the things that that has been a tradition in our household, I guess, really started by my grandfather, and maybe even further back than that. But at least he was the one that always said to us, put a little image of Our Lady Guadalupe above the door frame of your entrance to your home. So that's a great little way to honor the Blessed Virgin Mary, that anybody who enters the home is under her protection. And of course all who live there. So it's just little things like that. Or it was a beautiful way. You're right, Ann. Just the statues and the images. It's a great thing.
Yes, it really is. And thank you for sharing that. I think when people get together, friends or family, and you share ideas, it's really a good way for us to learn, because I think the best way to learn is from others. And, when we read and when we go online, we are learning from others too. So, but doing it in person is also a good thing, talking to your friends and family, extended family. One of the other things in this article talks about praying the Regina Caeli, and you can do 9 in the morning, noon, and 6. You can do the Litany of the Blessed Virgin Mary, invoking the name of the beautiful names of our loving intercessor. And you can do other novenas to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. And there's so many other like Marian prayers that you can pray. But I think these are just great reminders to us that we can take this time. Right now it's May 2nd. We're taping this on May 2nd. But it's going to be airing pretty soon. I'm sure of that. So it is the beginning of May of 2023. No matter when you're listening to this podcast, you can honor Mary, but those months of May and October are really special. Mm-hmm. So I think these ideas in this article is great. It also talks about doing a May crowning. A lot of the parishes do that. I think just about all of them do. And even ones that don't have a Catholic school, sometimes, they're still doing that May crowning. So that's a great idea. And one last thing they have in the article, well, actually, there's a couple more, but we can talk about this first. It's saying making a Mary garden. It says having a Mary garden can provide a quiet place for reflection. Maybe it can be a witness to a neighbor to spark a faith-filled conversation. Usually there's a statue or image of Mary at the center if possible, and you can include stepping stones or rocks, and of course, flowers. So I think that's really great. And like I said, in my backyard, what we have is the statue, and then it's like kind of this wooden like gazebo thing with there's flowers and things around it. And whenever I get flowers at home that are ready to be kind of, they're in a vase or something, but they're ready to be put in the trash or whatever, what I do is just about before they're dying, I put them right at that statue, because they still have maybe a week or two left outside, and it's just a great way to honor her.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, what a great What a great, article that you found too, Anne, because these are just little things. These things are, practical, and they're easy, and they're little reminders, right? I remember the May crowning always. I always remember that from Catholic grade school, right? I mean, that was a big thing when we were little. I mean, and they always used, at least in our school, and I think it's pretty traditional across the board, is that they would use the first communicants to go and present the flowers, and then have one of the young ladies who had received First Communion crown the Blessed Virgin Mary, and they would all get dressed up again in their First Communion outfits for Mass, and it was always a beautiful thing at our parish, St. Patrick's in Malvern. It was just a beautiful thing that I remember every year growing up. And it was just, again, little things that bring Mary into the forefront of our life. She is our greatest advocate in heaven, right? Like, she is our greatest advocate. She is the one that we can go directly through her hands to Christ and say, those Hail Marys, right? When we ask Mary to pray for us, we believe that she is risen, or not risen. She is, Jesus is risen from the dead. Mary is, has been assumed body and soul. Her glorified body is in heaven, and there is something so spectacular about that, right? That she can be on our behalf an advocate to Christ, and of course Christ to the Father, for us to receive graces and blessings, and that's the reason why it's so important to honor her. So, and any thoughts?
Yeah, I like what you just said, because we do need to ponder that, don't we? We really do. We need to think about the importance of interceding to saints, and she really is the saint of all saints. I mean, and we've heard so many priests in homilies say that, but it is just so true. And all of the popes have said the same thing, that devotion to Mary, that is just such a key thing, part of who we are as Catholics. Remember, we're not worshiping her in any sense. We are honoring her, and we are interceding to her, asking for her to pray for us and for all those people in the world that need God, that need the Lord. And so I think it is very important. Now, at the end of this article, it talks about imitating Mary. That's one of the most important things. And this article gives 10 principal virtues, and it's from the True Devotion to Mary, I believe from St. Louis de Montfort. It is. That's right, from what I'm reading here. So it says her deep humility, her lively faith, her blind obedience, her unceasing prayer, her constant self-denial, her unsurpassing purity, her ardent love, her heroic patience, angelic kindness, and heavenly wisdom. I mean, you could take each one of those and slow down and just think about them, but this is only a 25-minute podcast or so we don't have time to do that. But aren't those things that we can think about? Some people do the consecration to Mary. You can do that from St. Louis de Montfort, or you can do the other one from
Father Michael Gately.
Father Michael Gately, yeah. Right. I mean, there's other priests who have done that, and I have done it myself, and you can renew that every year at a certain time. I believe I did mine on the Feast of Fatima, which is May 13th. It's also my husband's birthday. So you can start to pray those prayers like daily before, and then say the ending prayer right on the feast day. Yep. But it's a wonderful thing to do, because it reminds you about purity, about prayerfulness, about gentleness, all those things that we should care about as Catholics, right?
Yeah.
All of those things that mean something to us in being better people for the Lord.
Well, and the fact that Mary is that perfect role model, right, Anne? Like, I mean, she is the perfect role model for us to follow, because she did it perfectly. Of course, she had a little help and was, preserved from that stain of original sin. But she still, I mean, I think even one of our speakers in the summit points out that, she still had to cooperate with grace throughout her life to avoid personal sin. I mean, what a great grace that, she wasn't, tainted by original sin, but she still had to make the personal choice to choose God, and choose to be perfect. She could have easily committed personal sin. She didn't. Did she have a little bit of a leg up with the Immaculate Conception? Absolutely. But that's because she's a mother of God and she's so special to us that that God said, "Hey, we've got to make a perfect vessel for my son to come into the world." But Mary still had to choose that, right? And her yes, right? Her fiat, yes, let it be done to me according to thy word. Like, it's so powerful. So, these things about, imitating humility, Mary is the perfect role model for us in our faith. And she gets us. She gets us too. She has been through everything that we have, that human beings go through. Incredible. Talk about trauma. You were mentioning trauma at the beginning of this, Anne, right? Like, talk about trauma. She watched her son die on a cross. She held his lifeless body in her arms. Talk about trauma. She gets us. Mary gets what we're going through, right?
Oh, yes, 100%. And even the way you just described it, when I hear the stories of others, because I, of course, working for the St. Raymond Nonatus Foundation as executive director, where we make pastoral outreach to families in crisis. Not all the time, but sometimes I do hear full stories from others. We usually direct them right to our priest. That's what I do. But sometimes people share with me their stories, and that's trauma. That's trauma. And so we know that Our Lady understands. And when you register, when you watch this Eucharistic, Marian Summit, right? Marian Summit Hope for Families, when you become a part of that summit and you take the time to listen to the talks and to really think and pray about what you're hearing, it helps us to be closer to Mary. I mean, that's our goal, I believe, with this summit, isn't it, Bill? Mm-hmm. Our goal is for all of us to grow in faith, because when we are closer to Mary, when we understand her more, the heart of Mary more, then we can also live better lives, and we can be better Christians, better Catholics, and really just better people all the way around.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's what it comes down to. Really, that's what it comes down to.
Oh, you're spot on. Yeah, I mean, it's exactly right. When we model Mary, when we learn, by the way, we both learn and grow. Like, we might be giving presentations as part of this, but we are both learning and growing a ton from all of these videos and all of these people who are speaking. I mean, it's a blessing to be able to have all of these speakers, and it's a true blessing to have all of these speakers on, with us. But in addition to that, it's a blessing to have all of you watch. I'll just say we had over 5,000 people over 3 days tune into the summit for the Eucharist. So we're anticipating that this is going to be even larger. We're at a point where we need inspiration from heaven, right? The Eucharist, the Blessed Virgin Mary. Like, we're at a point in our world where Mary says, apparition after apparition, that she has appeared throughout human history to pray for peace, to be an agent of peace in the world. Like, I mean, this is her language that she is talking about, right? And bringing peace to the world through praying the rosary. I mean, we are so blessed to be able to present, some of the Marian theology and some of the Marian catechesis, and also some of the Marian stories. We're able to put that on the screen and present that to you. But this really is just a taste. It's just a little taste of, life with the Blessed Virgin Mary. We hope it sparks a relationship with the Blessed Virgin Mary too, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, we can have a relationship with her because she is, glorified in heaven by God, because she is Queen of heaven and earth. We can have a relationship with her. She is not dead. She is very much alive, and we can have that relationship with her. So, I mean, I'm excited to invite all of you into that. Please go and register for this conference. Please go and do it.
Yes, right? That's the bottom line, Bill. Thank you so much for your reflections there. And Bill made a really good point. It's not just about, we're not just telling you to do this. We're doing it ourselves too. We're learning as much as you are. And we there's no one's better in our church, is there? There's no everyone's on equal level in terms of learning, in terms of the thirst for knowledge, in terms of the thirst to become better at prayer. And so that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And we're just very excited for this. Bill, thank you so much again. And thank you all for watching this podcast. Please share it if you would too, so that other people can find out about this summit.
Yeah, please. And invite your friends. Go to the website, invite your friends, register, go on and click that subscribe button. I want to thank you all for really going on and subscribing. I think I had 17 or 18 subscribers over the last 30 days, which is great. So we know people are anticipating this more and more and more. But go ahead and click that subscribe button, and don't forget to click the bell. When you click that little bell next to the subscribe, what it does is it sends you a notification when the videos are released. So not only will you get the email, because Ann's going to do the whole email chain to everybody that the videos are there every night, but when you register, but also if you forget or you don't get the email right away or whatever, that's another way to get that notification on your phone or on your TV or however you want to watch it to access those videos. So make sure you click that little bell and click subscribe. And of course, you can go right now. You can go back and watch the Eucharistic Summit until this one comes on here in 14 days. I can't believe we're saying 14 days, but here we are 2 weeks away. Ann, thank you for everything. And yeah, I'm excited for this. Can't wait for it to go live in just a little bit. So thank you. All right, folks. Well, until next time, from all of us here at Patchwork Art Ministry, the St. Raymond Donatus Foundation, and Fiat Ministry Network, may God bless you and your families.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Sowing Hope on Patchwork Heart Radio. For more information about this podcast and our ministries, visit our websites, patchworkheart.org and andesantis.com. You can also follow and interact with us on Twitter at PWH Ministry or Ann DeSantis 2.